Hey, good morning, everyone. Scary here. It's about 8:20. Radio Free Cincinnati. It's kind of late for me to record. Actually, not really. Right around what I need to do. Today's episode. By the way, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a great August. Fruitful, making plenty of money, enjoying yourself, taking care of yourself. Can't rely on people to do that for you, mind you. Sometimes you gotta just do you. So today's episode, we're going to talk about dogs. I love dogs. I'm a dog person. Actually, I like all animals. I'm not a big cat fan, although I have a lot of tomcats that run around my neighborhood, and I think they're cool as shit. And I'll call them over. I'll be walking, or I'll be in my backyard, and I'll see one walking across my little backyard, and I'll go, and they stop and they look at me. Their ears. Little Batman cats, and they usually come over. I'll pet them. I'll play with them. I'll pet them. Swat at them. They'll swat at my hand and so forth. They're cool. But I wouldn't own one, but they're cool. Cats are unusual, man. They just, they're self-sufficient. All you gotta do is chuck them some food. They piss in a piss box. They cover it up. They're smart, Cats are a lot smarter than dogs. Dogs are really big dumbasses, but or little dumbasses. Cats are cool. I'm just not a cat person. But I feed the chipmunks. I'll even feed the squirrels. Some people say, "Oh, I got this beautiful dog. I got this beautiful bird feeder, and I got it from this farmer's market. I spent a lot of money on this bird feeder, and it's goddamn squirrels, if they don't get in there and destroy everything, they gotta eat too. So I don't get mad at the squirrels. I had a neighbor that shot one. A squirrel in his backyard, and he hit him in the hindquarters, and he described it to me. He shot the squirrel in its hindquarters, and it dragged itself into the forest wounded. I'm like, you motherfucker, heartless bastard. That was the first and last time I talked to him. Someone ought to shoot you with a pellet gun, asswipe. Anyways, so let's go back to the dogs. So I grew up with dogs. My mom and dad, we had family dogs, We had medium-sized dogs. We had a Cocker Spaniel 2 different times. And they were chill, They were chill animals. They didn't, hyperactive and all, but they didn't bark a lot. They were running around in circles a lot, bumping into things. Playful, real playful, loving animals. And then when I got my very first dog, I bought myself a Labrador Retriever. Loved her to death. She was the best 13 and a half years I've ever had with anything that was living. A friend of mine said one day, he goes, Gary, when I bought my buddy Roger, I'll give him a shout out. Anyway, he had German short hair pointers his whole life because he hunted. And he and his wife had dogs. And he told me when I bought my Labrador, he said, you're going to realize, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is your very first dog on your own? I said, yes. Yes. He goes, when that dog reaches its end, when she gets close to dying or when she does die, you will cry like a baby. I was like, it didn't compute. It didn't compute with me because I never loved an animal like that. My mother had the dogs. They were her dogs. But he was right. When I had to put her down, I cried like for 3 days straight. I cried harder for that animal than I cried for any human I ever loved. It's crazy. So if you have a dog and you know what it's like to put one down, you can relate to this video. It's brutal because they're with you 24/7. They're happy when you come home from work. They're happy when you get out of bed in the morning so that you could feed them. You ask them if you want to go for a walk, want to go for a ride, anything. They just want to be near you, around you, and with you. That's what dogs are. They want to be around you, near you, and with you. Which brings me to my next subject. Yippies and yappers. I think there's something wrong with people's minds. And there's a wiring disconnect in people's brains that buy dogs that are less than 5 pounds of weight each. Because all they do is this. So I'm gonna do this a couple times in this episode and see if you'd like it. Yip, 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 yip. Annoying, right? That's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying as fuck, right? Yeah. I have to listen to that every fucking day. Because my neighbor, I think 2 years ago, went out and bought this little thing. It weighs 3 pounds. I don't know what kind of dog it is. Some kind of a cosmetic dog. I don't know what it is. It's not a Pomeranian because they're freak shows on their own right too. But there's 2 of them now. There's a lady up the road that has one. And then the one next door to me, right fucking next door to me, bought one. She paid a lot of money for this thing. She was telling me about it. She said, Gary, I paid like $1,400 for this thing. It's a purebred. I'm thinking, oh, well, that's cool. The dog won't shut the fuck up. He just stop, non-stop, yap, yap, yap. I'm not going to do that sound again because I can't barely hear myself. I barely can't imitate the sound and get over it. It's that annoying. Yap, 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 constantly. I could be in my office on my computer, and I got darkening shades, and they're also insulating shades because I don't like sunlight coming in, especially when I'm running an AC unit. And actually, this kitchen's the only place I have allow any light to come in. But I could hear that dog down the road. 100 yards, 200 yards away, I could hear it yipping away, coming. It's getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. And you know the neighbors just want to drop kick the motherfucker. I mean, I could squash it with one fucking stomp of my foot, and I'd be okay with it. I'd sleep like a baby the next day. And I said to her one day, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to say her name because she is my next door neighbor. Oh, I love my doggy. And I said, every time I go out of my house and I happen to run into her and she's walking her little yippee-yoo, I call it a yippee-yoo, the dog won't stop barking. And finally, just the other day, I said, that dog just won't shut up. Moody, can you get the dog to shut up? Well, and she said, well, Gary, she's like that. She's just like that. She just wants attention. Go pet her. So I went around and I bent down to pet the little rat, and it bit me. I said, well, yeah, I'm gonna get bit. You gotta get this little animal under control. What the fuck? And she said to me, she goes, some dog owners have dogs with problems. No. I said, no, that's not the case. You knew going in that you were buying a yippee-yoo. You knew going in you were buying a yapperoo, the old yapperoo. Yip, 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 yip. Constantly. Oh, I bet she could hear me. She's right behind me. That's how close her house is. Her condo butts up to mine. She's probably over there saying, did Gary buy a dog just like mine? I would have to start drinking again if I bought a dog like that. Excuse me. No, not doing it, not having it. And I have a few people on my street that dogs like that. 2 houses up, I have another lady with one. She started with 1. Hers weigh about 10 pounds each, but they're insane too. They're retarded. Constantly barking. I mean, she had 1, and 1 wasn't enough. And she wanted to buy it a roommate, so she went and bought another one. Now she's got 2 of these yipperoos. And they walk up the street. They look like pockets of fur with legs walking. You can't see their face. You see a little nose, but you can't see the eyes. They're dug in by all this fur. And they're just dainty little things walking the street. I just want to back my Cadillac into them. I'm going to time it when they're walking and she's walking her dogs. Because she lets them go out on the leash really far. And she's on her phone. She's on her phone and they're out on the leash, Not paying attention, just walking her dogs. Entitlement. It's entitlement. And just time it. Back my car up and just squish them. And she'd be like, my doggies. Didn't you see them? I couldn't see the dogs. Look what you did to my tire. It's all bloody. What did you do to my tire? There should be a law. There should be a sound ordinance in my city for yippy dogs, for yipperoos, yippy yoopies, yippies. I mean, everyone knows. People listening to this program, they know. They've heard those dogs. Poodles, they're worse. They're the worst. All poodles are is cats dressed in drag, in my opinion. Poodles! What is that? What the fuck? What is that? Who would want a poodle? I mean, Labrador Retrievers. The one behind me, that picture. That's what she looked like. That's what her name was, Casey. Labs. They are America's most favorite dog in the American Kennel Association, the AKA, the most popular dog in America for the past 20-something years has been the Labrador Retriever. They're smarter than humans. They're smarter than most humans. They understand more words than we do. More commands. No, I take that back. They understand more commands than any other dog. My buddy Roger will probably disagree with that. Say, well, no, my German hair short pointer, my German pointer. Of course, I'm going to get that wrong. German short hair pointer. Yeah. She was pretty smart. Man, well, my lab knew more commands. Which brings me to my next subject. I'm going to do this very quickly. I got to touch on this because I talked about Roger. I got to bring this subject up. You're going to love this. Back when I had my lab, he lived out in the country in a little town called Williamsburg, Ohio. And he and his wife wanted to move out there, and they built themselves a really beautiful home out there, and they were sitting on like 7 acres of property. It was beautiful out there. He had a deck. He had a nice little. He had his own man shed in the backyard. He had all his boats. He had a 4x4 all-wheel drive tracker. He had one of those. He had his truck back there. He had everything. I mean, it was tits. Anyway, at the time he had a little yippy dog, a yippy yapper named Haley. They called her Hey Hey. And she was probably about 10 pounds, solid white, hyperactive, like a 48-volt battery. I mean, that was just fucking battery. And then he had a German short-hair pointer that he had bought. I don't know how old that dog was. Her name was Greta. The dog's name was Greta. Beautiful animal. Had Greta for maybe, I don't know, Greta was probably, 5. I'm going to guess 4 or 5. Now, for those who don't know anything about German short-hair pointers, these things make Forrest Gump look like an amateur. These things are like bullets. They're like a bullet train. Because they hunt. And then they go out and they'll be out there, and he'll be out there with his gun and his buddies, and they'll be walking out in the bush looking for birds, and the pointers will be out there on point, and then they stop, and their tails go up, and they freeze. Roger was telling me this. They freeze, and that's where they know the birds are. These things are fast. They're faster than any dog I've ever seen, right? So I said to Roger one day at work, I said, hey, dude, I'm going to bring my lab over. Let her run in the backyard with Greta. And I was talking up my lab. I said, yeah, my lab will outdo that dog. My dog will outrun her. My dog's a hunting dog, too. Well, my dog was a little bit out of shape because I never exercised her like Greta. Greta out of the womb was a machine. Greta born was an athlete. She had it all. I mean, he didn't have to exercise her, although he did because he went hunting with her. But my lab, I mean, I gave my dad, granted, this was my first dog. And, it was my pal. I gave her pizza crust when I was done with pizza. I gave her the bottom of a pint of ice cream to lick. I gave her peanut butter. I gave her human food. I was bad. I won't do it again when I get another dog. But, I mean, she was great. I mean, she wanted that pizza crust. You can see looking in her eyes, she wanted the pizza crust. I looked down and I'd be done with the pizza and look down the bottom of the table, and she'd be looking up at me with these big brown eyes, drooling. You can't say no to a face like that. I got a card my mom gave me one time. Here it is. That's what she looked like. You can't say no. Yeah, I got a memorial from my lab. I got a whole display up here of my lab. I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm not gonna share that with you today. But I mean, you can't say no. They're cuddly animals, and the labs don't yap and yip and yip. They won't yap and yip and yip. They won't. She barked when I wanted her to bark. Otherwise, she just sat there and chilled with me on the couch. Anyway, and she liked to play fetch with a tennis ball and a frisbee. She liked all that shit. So anyway, back to the story at Roger's house. So I'm pumping up my dog's tires. I'm going, yeah, but my dog will outdo that fucking German short hair. And he's just smiling the whole time. He's cutting me, smiling. He goes, and I tell you what, here's my directions to my house in Williamsburg. Why don't you come on out? And yeah, he let the dogs run around the backyard. And I'm thinking, okay. And he wasn't biting. He wasn't biting. No, he was like just confident, smiling. He goes, yeah, bring your lab out. It'll be good times. You know, we can hang out, drink some iced tea, watch the dogs play. It'll be a good time. And we'll have a good time. It's not a hey Gary, it's not a competition. Let's just let them have fun. For those who don't know my buddy Roger, and the people that are watching this, they do know him. He's highly competitive. He's got a competitive spirit, more so than anyone I've ever met. Great guy. Very competitive, though. He got home and he said to his wife, he goes, honey, Gary's coming over tomorrow on my off day. We got to prep Haley. He's probably laughing watching this because he knows it's true. Haley, little Hey, the little 10-pound rodent, the little 10-pound 48-volt battery, she prepped it. She prepped the whole thing. And so I'm not going to share what he said to his wife. I know he set me up. So he set me up. So I had a little Honda Civic hatchback. And Casey was in the back of the hatchback, and we're out in the country, and she's looking left and right. She's going, "What, Dad? This is great. This is country. We're not in the city anymore." And she's in the back, looking out the windows, sticking her head out the window, tongue whapping everywhere. You've seen those people driving their cars. Anyway, we get out to the middle of nowhere, cornfields to the left and right, soybean farms. I think it was mostly soybean. Anyway, so I opened up the hatchback, and Casey jumped out. And she's not going anywhere because it's all country, right? And Roger comes out. He's coming out the backyard. I think he had a cup of iced tea or something in his hand. And beside him was Haley, this little fucking 10-pound 48-volt battery. And Haley goes right to Casey. Casey goes right to Haley. And I shit you not, this is exactly what happened. Casey's kind of at a half-paced jog walking in the backyard, and Haley's bumping up against her, and she's going, yip, 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 yip. And my dog the whole time's going, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Wearing my dog out, prepping her for the monster coming out the back door, the German Shorthair. See, so Haley, little Hey, is bouncing up against my dog. Maybe it wasn't a setup. It couldn't have been a setup. There's no way a human can say to a dog, "Now listen, Haley, this is how it's going to be today. You're going to go out there and you're going to fucking bang up against that black dog. You're going to bang up against that black dog. Wear her out. Wear her out. Do you hear me? You're going to have to wear her out or you don't get dinner tonight." I don't know exactly how it happened, but that dog got my dog fired up. So now my dog's fired up. Or half worn out. Then Haley just disappears. I don't know where Hey went. I have no clue where she went. She just disappeared from the scene. I think she jumped up on the deck and just hung out and watched the show. Because then the monster comes out. This dog, Greta. And the first thing Greta does is she comes out on the deck. And all I remember was, I went, pew, out in the field. Casey runs out there trying to find her. She can't find her anywhere. At this point, Casey's about spent anyway because Hey wore her out going in, and she wasn't in the greatest shape. My dog didn't look like that behind me. She had a gut, not a big gut, but you can tell when the labs get bigger, they get puffy. And she's running out there with all she's got, trying to find Greta. And all you can see is the ears flopping and the tail, and it's going. And Roger's sitting up there just drinking his iced tea, and all you can see is this dog is doing big loops out there, go around the field. And all I see is ears and a tail. Big loops. And he'd whistle occasionally, he'd double stop. He had that dog trained. Trained like a police dog. So they came back together, and of course, every time Casey tried to roll up on Greta, she took off. And Casey would try to catch her and couldn't. So finally, this went on for, I'm going to say more than 7 or 8 minutes, because that's all it took for this dog to wear my dog completely out. And I wasn't gonna harass my dog and say, "Get your ass out there." No, I was out there they were out to have fun, you know. So Casey climbs up on the deck, which was about maybe 16 inches off the ground. Climbs up on the deck, jumps up on the deck, and lays down next to me. And she's doing this. She's tired. She's wore out. She's wore the fuck out. And where's Greta? Where's Greta? She's out there in the field, still running in these big circles. And then occasionally, she'd be doing circles. What she was looking for, I don't know. The dog was mentally retarded. The dog was running in these big circles, probably looking for something to chase. And then all of a sudden, it would be like a boom. It would wind up in big circles and it'd go onto the cornfield somewhere and disappear. And then come back out. And then finally jumped up on the deck, said hi to her boss, then tore back out the field. This went on for about a half an hour. And I said to Roger, Roger, this is unfair. You had Hey wear my dog out. And then you had your German short hair monster come out here and wear my dog out. I mean, your German short hair is like Mark Phelps in a swimming pool in the Olympics versus Hulk Hogan in a match. Well, Hulk Hogan weighs 300 pounds. Your dog weighed 80 pounds at best, soaking wet. That was the last time I ran my mouth with Roger when it came to dogs. He didn't say a word. He never bit. He just smiled. He goes, "Okay, yeah, here's my directions. Come on over. Come on over. Yeah, hey, Gary, come on over. We'll sit on the porch. We'll hang out, watch the dogs play. Oh, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time, sure. Yeah, your dog's going to wear mine out? Yeah, sure, bring her. Bring her over. That's fine. We'll have a good time. We'll drink some iced tea. We'll watch the dogs." All right, that said, I know I went off on a tangent about Roger's dog, but that dog was a little fucking machine. Little fucking machine. And the German short hairs, they're really short hairs. I mean, the German short hair, really short hair. They're like little razor blades. I call Doberman pincers razor blades. German short hairs are just right in there. Probably as fast as the Doberman. They aren't mean, though. They're very friendly animals. They'll lick you to death. They didn't lick me to death. She got up on the deck and she was licking her boss to death, but she was looking at me like, that's what she was doing. That's exactly what she was doing. I read lips on dogs. That's what she was doing. She was teasing me and my dog. My dog was out. Out for the count. But going back to these yippee-yoos, there should be an ordinance in the city limits that the dogs, these yappers, these yippers and yappers cannot bark past 9 o'clock at night. And the reason why I say that is because these walls are paper thin, these condominiums. I can hear the TV. I don't mind listening to the TV. I can hear the TV. I'll just crank mine up a little bit more. I'll combat that. But I can hear the fucking dogs through the wall. There's something wrong with the wiring in a person's brain that buys a dog like that. There just is. You look next time around your neighborhood or whoever. You may be watching my program thinking, eat your popcorn or whatever you're doing. Yeah, hey, Butcher Boy, guess what? I got 4 of those in the backseat of my car right now. They're great. They are yippers. Yep. I'm glad I fucking disturbed you. Yeah, no. You need to be thrown in the insane asylum. And people that breed these things, they're making bucks. $1,200 for a 3-pound piece of fur that all it does is yip, yippee you, yip, 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 yip. That's all they do. There should be a law. There should be a law. And then once a year, like that movie The Purge, once a year you should be able to go out there with your shotgun shooting these things. You see one on the street, boom, boom. One less yippee you on the street until they go out and spend $1,200 more and buy another one. All right. This program is about over. I got to keep them under 30 minutes. I was talking to my buddy Roger about that last night. He goes, keep them under 30. I say, I could do that. I have a tendency to run my mouth. And if people would like to reach through their TV sets or their iPads or their cell phones and say, Gary, please shut the fuck up. I got to get back to work. My lunch break is over. Okay, I'll work on that. Hey, I hope you all have a great week, nice weekend, and I'll catch you all up in the flip side. Peace out.